Hey, hello everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Page Chewing Comics and Manga. This is Weekly Polls Pick of the Week, and I believe we're at episode number 40. I'm Mike, and I'm back here with my friend Steve, and we're back at it. I was traveling for a few weeks, and I know Steve had a solo um, episode, and I listened to it. He did an excellent job without me. But if anybody's joining us, I know we do this all the time, but if it's their first time joining us, we're getting back into comics. I guess over the last year or so, from quite a long hiatus, and yeah, just happy to be back. I know this past weekend we had free comic book day. I was able to ask the people at my store to reserve a few for me, and I'll probably cover those next week. But I was excited because I never participated before. I'm not sure if you were able to or not, but how have you been? How have you been doing, Steve?
Good. Yeah, I wasn't able to participate in Free Comic Book Day. Just ended up being a busier day than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited to be back. It was weird doing a solo episode last week. Just felt weird. Didn't feel right.
Yeah.
But yeah, glad you're back and happy to be back in the saddle.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I think we've got how many? We've got about 7 or 8. Yeah, we got a few to cover. I picked up so many today when I went to the comic book store because they had like a backlog from when I was away, and then there was a few others that I saw that I luckily grabbed. So next week I think is going to be big, but yeah, we'll see how we do today. I think you have the first one, so maybe you can kick us off.
Yeah, had a really good week. I think one of the best weeks I've had with my picks.
Great.
And I read the first book and I thought this is for sure my pick, and then I kept going. It's like, well, I don't know, but we'll get to that. One of the great books I read this week is the Blood Brothers Mother, issue 1. This is by Distillery, and they are pumping out quality product. I've just been enjoying the hell out of everything I've read from them. But there's been I've been hearing there's like a Western trend coming, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I've been reading and watching and experiencing lots of Westerns lately. I don't know why. Maybe it's just got in my head, but I just finished Blood Meridian. Maybe that's it's still marinating in my little brain. But the Blood Brothers Mother is a Western. And so we start off by following a man who is released from a Mexican prison who had been there for 5 years. And you quickly learn that he is not one of the nicest people around. And once he's released, he wants to get his life back, and specifically a person who was in his life back. So he joins up with his old friends, and mayhem ensues pretty quickly. We experience the dangers of life on the frontier and this lawless place of, you're out there and you're basically, if you're not armed and dangerous, you're in trouble. And it's made very clear pretty quick that it's a very dangerous place. Now, he's not the lowest of the low. He seems to have somewhat of a code, but he's by no means a likable character. So he goes back to try and reclaim his old partner, his old girlfriend or his wife. I think it was more of his girlfriend. I don't know if they were married, but he finds her and he wants her back, and he will not take no for an answer. The story quickly spirals out of control, and she's living her life with a new husband and kids, and that's all thrown upside down pretty quick. It is a violent, ruthless, but wonderful experience. The artwork is great. It has kind of this cartoonish, kind of like this brown hue on everything. It really fits the Southwestern style. It very much immerses you in that kind of world. And yeah, it's the color palette really works. And this book starts off from where it ends. The thing is, we're going down a revenge cycle of violence type of story, that violence begets violence, and we're just going to keep experiencing this cycle over and over again, because the people that he hurts in this first issue, the feeling are going to have their day sometime. And it changed their lives, this experience. So yeah, like I said, Blood Meridian is on my mind by Cormac McCarthy. So that's kind of where my mind went, but great first issue. And I was blown away with this one. Really close to being my pick of the week.
You know, it sounds a little bit like, well, the other series that we've been reading that's a Western-ish series is the Little Black Book. So I'm trying to think of there might have been one or two others also that we've been reading, and I have a feeling like Westerns kind of come and go. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, I think in the '90s there was like Westerns movies were being remade or whatever, and I think there's a show on that's on Amazon Prime that I haven't checked out yet, but I heard that's like a Western one with James Brolin. Anyway.
Yeah, we just finished watching, my mind is blanking on Paramount Plus, the Yellowstone.
Oh.
Kind of a Western, and they have spin-offs that go back in time and tell the story of the family. So yeah, and then in the 90s we had Unforgiven and Tombstone and some other things.
Oh yeah.
So it does seem to kind of go in cycles, and I guess it's that time again.
Yeah. Well, so my first review is going to be 7174 AD, and this is Image Comics, and it's by T.P. Louise and Ashley Wood. Wow, this is really a mind bender. I got to say two things right away. First of all, it's got the newsprint paper that has, quite a. This one gets the smell test award, and so that's different. That catches you off guard right away. But this is really a showcase of, I think, I would call it surrealist artwork. This is not at all linear storytelling. It's more of like what maybe somebody would call concept art, because there's two stories in here. I won't necessarily say which ones, but one is about these racers in the future, and they're racing on these cyborgs. Although the artwork is so somewhat abstract that there's like these big splash pages, and it's a lot. There's color, but it's really different. So if you're into that thing, if you're into something, that's really showcasing more of the artwork and ideas. The second story is difficult to describe, but it's two women that unearth this kind of weird robot slash stone character, and whenever this robot character speaks, the words are completely unintelligible. So could be written in Sanskrit. So that's just to give you an example of what's going on here. It's just totally different, and I would even consider, like I'd said, it's more of conceptual than anything. So I'll just say maybe my last point here is that I could see people feel very confused. I was, but I appreciate things like this that are different. So I'm not going to say that it's bad. I think you have to have an open mind. And so I really don't know if the series is going to continue. I think this artist has done similar work before, because at the end, and her name, I believe, is Ashley Wood, and it says something that she's been collaborating with the same writer since, I think, 2004 or something. And I even went online and I saw that, yes, they had done other things, but I don't think you need to know continuity or anything. It's I would say it's, if you know David Lynch, or I'm trying to think of Salvador Dali, you got to put your mind in that kind of surrealist world.
Sounds like my kind of book. I don't know if I saw that one.
Yeah, I just picked it up because it's just looked weird, just looked different, and that appealed to me. because I feel like I'm reading too much Marvel stuff right now.
Yeah. Oh, I did see that one. I didn't pick it up. I
Yeah,
didn't recognize
I
the
could
cover.
see you not. The cover is just, it's not necessarily going to draw you in either. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about that one.
Wow. Sounds like right up my alley, though.
Hmm.
I love the newsprint. I didn't realize it had newsprint.
Oh yeah,
That's a very specific feel and texture.
yeah.
Very nice. Hmm.
Definitely
Interesting.
different. Definitely different.
Well, now I'm gonna have to go see if they have any more copies left because I have to. Now I need it. So the next one on our list is Crave 6. This is a series that I think we started reading together. This one, I think, was when you became co-host. This one, so yeah, this I always worry when a series is about to end because it's hard to hit the landing. It's hard to nail the landing. It's just tough. So I've been a fan of this one from the very beginning, and I really loved the ending to this one. I thought it was very fitting. I thought it kind of it was right, and it had the right tone, had the right feel. There's not a whole lot of dialogue in this last issue, and I think the art does a lot of the heavy lifting in this last issue, which I think again is fitting. And you can see the second half of the issue, the art and what the characters are doing in the backgrounds really changes. I think it's interesting to see how, for the first 5.5 issues, everyone's on their phones or everyone's using some type of technology to not so much towards the second half of the issue. And that's what I knew for sure. It was commentary about social media. I'd been guessing that, but about social media, what kind of, how it warps our perceptions of the world. It warps our perceptions of ourselves. And it bends our minds in ways, and it in some ways controls us and influences our decisions. And we put so much weight into having that feedback from social media when really it's a circus mirror we're looking into. It's not really reality. And we can put more stock into what we do and what we don't do and stop viewing it through that warped prism. But I thought the end was perfect.
Oh wow. I definitely like the series. I had a slightly different take in that I felt, to me, that although I read this very quickly, so that's my big caveat. I like to take my time. I felt I did not expect more of a happy ending here, but so which is probably a good thing, because this could have gone really bad. So I would just say I was surprised with the ending, and there was one thing that happened that seemed a little bit like a Deus ex machina, but other than that, I'm very pleased that I read this series with you, and it's not something I would have gone for. I think, and I think because you picked it up, I started to join. But yeah, I'm happy. I wouldn't say it was a bad ending for me. I was a little bit. There was just maybe one or two things that I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah, there were some silly things, but I think I kind of see the happy ending more as look how much different your life can be without all this bullshit in it.
Yeah.
Kind of the but I do hope, because it hints at the end of a part 2 or to be continued possibly. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think we need a second part. As much as I enjoyed the first volume, I think that's a bookends. I think, not that I don't have faith in Marie Lovette. I think she's fantastic,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's good just to leave it as it is.
Yeah, I think that last panel won't go into details, but yeah, I think I think this is enough. I think there's something to be said about these kind of limited series, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So the next up for me, I have the ongoing series of Guma, with two A's at the end, and I'm sure it's pronounced differently than what I just said. Um, so I absolutely adore the artwork. Um, you know how we've talked about DC and Marvel have that very polished look. This has that, but it has more of like a manga type of feel, but it's also very polished. So I don't know. It's like the way the features of the characters are drawn. It almost has like a penciled kind of look, but then everything is extremely beautiful. The backgrounds are beautiful. The colors are very striking. So this is keeping me going because I will say I think that the story is a little bit all over the place. It's fine. I'm going to continue. One of the main characters has kind of her name is Kalida. She's kind of become this like priestess, nun, magic wielder person because she has some, relic, weapon or dagger. And then there's a new kind of adversary and then an investigation that's happening that's going on in this story. So a few new storylines. I will say I am surprised by the number of typos.
Hmm.
It shouldn't bother me, but I did see at least two. But I maybe I should not comment on that so much. But like I said, the artwork is just excellent. So anybody if that really floats your boat, I would definitely say that this is a great series.
Hmm. Interesting. So the typos, they don't really bother me either, but if you see more than one, it's a little sloppy.
Yeah. I have another rant coming, like minor issue coming up, but I'll save that for later.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
that's nothing. Yeah, the minor kind of typo issues I think don't matter to me.
oh, nice. So the next one on the list is Drawing Blood #1, and I almost didn't pick this up. The cover, while it isn't a bad cover. It just didn't grab me. It just didn't draw my interest. But I thought I kind of paged through it, and it reminded me a lot. The artwork reminded me a lot of the Lamphams, who we'll get to soon. So that's kind of what I thought. Okay, I'll try it. So it's a semi autobiographical story from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles co-creator Kevin Eastman, and kind of his. I'm not sure how many of these events really happened, or it was just a general kind of based on true events kind of thing. But I love the someone's on their kind of someone's down their luck, their life goes from worse to very worse, and they kind of get in over their head and in a world they have no business being in. I love those kind of stories, those kind of gritty crime stories, where someone's just in over their head. So yeah, I just the idea of someone like who co-created a franchise that's so popular to have this fall from grace and then trying to recapture that lightning in a bottle feeling of having a hit again as an artist. I imagine that's very frustrating to try to catch that lightning again when your partner, your co-creator, your other co-creator kind of mishandles your franchise. So yeah, like I said, his life goes from bad to worse after tragedy strikes, and yeah, I really loved it. I think the story and art are perfect, probably because I'm a huge fan of the Lamphams, and yeah, I just love this book. It was another one who was very close to being pick of the week.
So this is the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the co-creator.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I had no idea. I had no idea that this story existed. I think this has been published previously by another publisher, but it's being published by Image now. So really glad I decided to try it because it is a fantastic book.
No, I'm checking out the cover right now. Yeah, it's definitely got a very stylistic look. depending on which cover you got. Nowadays, there's like 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of covers out there.
Okay, so yes, I had mentioned Marvels earlier, I believe, and so I am continuing with the Ultimate Black Panther. Before I get into this, I wanted to say I'm a little bit disappointed in myself, but I am trying to read the Ultimate Invasion, which was
Okay.
which is what kind of came out that launched the Ultimate Spider-Man, Black Panther, and X-Men, and I don't know what else. There's probably other things as well, and I did not complete that, but I'm really liking it. I think the writing is really good. I think it's by Eastman. I don't have it in front of me, but so I'm a little bit behind on that. And let me just say, I have an issue. I have a problem. You know
Oh,
how
this will be good.
we've talked about Image Comics, okay? If you look at an Image comic, look through, and you will see very few ads, okay? So I read one of the the AD 1774 AD, and then I read this one, and I counted, I think, 15 or 16 pages of ads,
No way,
and
really?
only 20 pages of actual content, because I read through it so fast, and I was like, oh, I'm a fast reader. No, I'm not a fast reader.
Really?
I so I have to say, I was just like, I thought that was egregious.
Hmm.
But moving on to the story, um, I'm enjoying the story. It's not like blowing me away or anything. I'm enjoying the artwork. We've got the appearance of Storm. That's maybe a minor spoiler, but I think that's kind of cool to have, an X-Men appearance, and some interesting story is developing with T'Challa and Killmonger. In some, and we know about Wakanda and all of that, but they're able to kind of go into this new world in Africa that is unknown, and could be very interesting, and could potentially help them, defeat the bad guys. So um, yeah, I I'm happy. I'm happy with the series. I think trying to understand what happened in the big kind of event is helping me. But like I said, I was not able to complete that today, before the recording. But generally, I'm going to stick with it. I also have Ultimate Spider-Man. I have now 1 through 4, but I haven't started reading those. I know you have, Steve, but I'm gonna check those out maybe though next time we record. But
That's a lot of ads.
I'm not kidding. I wrote down. Okay, maybe I exaggerated. Sorry, I actually have the numbers here. 20 pages of content, 12 pages of ads, and then 2 of them are like title page, which you can just make it a panel. Um, so same price. I think it's $4.99.
Hmm.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I think we can talk about the cover price of comics and kind of, because some of them are, yeah, it's figure $5 for 20 pages of content.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Anyway, I couldn't help myself. I was like, is that real? But they're anyway.
This is why I'm glad we kind of go through and decide if we're going to continue or not, because there's only so much room, right?
Right.
Only so much time. Only you make these decisions and you base them off of several factors. But I think part of it is the amount of ads and things like that. That it's good to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing. Yeah. So the next on the list is King Spawn 33. I've been trying to get back into Spawn after the events of Spawn 350. Jumped into this one. It has a fantastic cover. I love the artwork. The artwork, I believe it's the same. It's the same artist that came from Spawn, if I'm not mistaken. Just fantastic artwork. I just, it gives me those '90s good vibes. The good old Image days. But this issue is a wall to wall, violent, bloody action story that is just start to finish intense. And Spawn is battling waves of enemies. If I can get enemies out. The thing is that this book is told in reverse order. So we first see the last event first, and we go back in reverse. And at the end of the book is the beginning of the battle. Why was this decision made? I don't know. It doesn't do anything for the story. It doesn't help the story in any way. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't really. There are a couple of really kind of clever things that they do with it. A couple of neat little things they have, kind of to demonstrate it going in reverse. Part of it is probably to let the reader know, hey, by the way, we're going in reverse. But kind of neat, I guess, neat tricks they used. But I don't know what really added to it. I don't think it made it any better. So kind of strange. But either way, it was a fun, bloody, violent time. So yeah, I'll continue with this one. Just for the artwork alone, I think I'll continue. So I had a really great week. This is probably my least favorite book. It was okay, but this is kind of the bottom of the list this week.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm going to have to do some research to understand the different spin-off characters, but I'm happy that you had such a great week. And I'm very perplexed by story structure sometimes, and I try to pay more attention to it now than ever before. And so those decisions sometimes pay off, and then sometimes they don't. But at least the author is trying something new, I think.
The only thing I could think of is that it's because it was just a long action scene.
Okay.
That they decided to do something a little different.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Sure.
Well, my pick of the week, and I can't remember if you read this one or not. I know we've both been enjoying this series. It's Under Heist number 3 by the Laphams. And wow, this story is becoming full-blown horror. And I think I've just been appreciating it from issue to issue. One of the things I want to mention right away is that David Lapham does his own lettering, and you're like, oh, sometimes the lettering seems kind of funky, but it's usually somebody who's like deranged or whispering or having some problem, and then there's other times when it's very tight. And so the balloons as well will be modified based. So he's giving some additional kind of, characterization or voice, if you will, which I'm just noticing. I'm really appreciating it. And I think you talked about lettering on the last episode, and I think it's just nice to shout that out here. So there's some really good tension building here in a subway scene. I won't go on what happens, and then kind of things just kind of calm down again. With the main character is also named David, and just ramping up kind of the supernatural, demonic imagery and story. So there's one time when I was kind of lulled into thinking, oh, the story is just kind of slowing down, and then I turned the page and it was like like a splash of gore. Okay, yeah. That's obviously done on purpose to an effect. Like you turn the page and you almost get, I don't know if it's a jump scare or probably whatever the equivalent of that is in comics. I experienced that here, and so yeah, this is easily my pick of the week. Some weeks I struggle, but this one I've just, it's horror, and it's got detective elements, and I gotta accept, horror for what it is sometimes, and it's really, to me, hitting the marks, and I don't really have any complaints with the series right now.
Yeah, I think I I guess I just anticipated this being similar to something like Stray Bullets.
Hmm.
And to see the twist, and like you said, we're going full blown into horror now. And I love this book. It's just a great issue. And you're right about the jump scare.
Hmm.
I think it could be because you turn the page and it's really kind of a surprise. But I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure.
No.
I think we're intentionally being given different clues. Like, it's not too spoilery, but I didn't realize that most of these events happen at night. We don't get
Hmm.
much happening during the day. So we are being are we being tricked? Is there something else going on?
Yes.
Is our character David being tricked? Is he a reliable narrator?
Exactly.
We don't know. And I love it. It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's great.
Oh, you covered some of those main points. I wasn't sure but I think to entice other people, like if that is what's also doing it for me, and building the tension even more, is kind of the question, kind of just you're questioning the reality of what's going on, and the character is as well. So it's like
Yeah.
multi-pronged.
And normally in a story like this, I would be worried
Hmm.
because when we start introducing too many questions, I think it's hard to tie it all together. But I have complete faith in the Lampums. I'm a huge fan of theirs, so I'm over the moon excited about what's going to happen next.
Oh, great. Me too.
Yeah, and complete faith in the Lampums for sure. So my pick of the week was one I did not expect at all. Didn't see this one coming, which is Bear Pirate Viking Queen #1. This is a 3-part series. Our first issue is really a double issue. I believe it's 50 or some sorry 72 pages, so it's like a double. So the Bear Pirate Viking Queen is essentially 4 issues, but we get 2 of them in their first issue. Now, the first thing that will catch your eye is the artwork in the interior. It's watercolor,
Hmm.
and it is absolutely beautiful. It is fantastic. I just found myself just staring at the artwork and admiring it. Just gorgeous artwork. And with that said, the story is also it does not it very much serves the artwork. It doesn't let the artwork go to waste. We start off with a bear, as the title says, a pirate. And if you're a fan of pirate stories of naval, military, of swashbuckling,
Hmm.
what leads a person to be a pirate? What is their what is their intention? What is their motivation? We dive into that. We dive into, I mean, it really explores a few different things. It explores very subtly. It explores motivations. It explores empires. It explores governments, rise and falls of governments. It explores what it's like to be out on the sea all by yourself.
Hmm.
This like very wide open world where you're very much vulnerable at any point. So it covers all those bases. And just when you start to get settled in to the pirate life, it gets thrown upside down, and we are introduced to a Viking.
Hmm.
I won't go into too much detail, but the Viking, I'm we that's going to be, obviously we're going to delve more into the Viking, but it very much goes from one to another. The focus changes, and it is, I don't know. I absolutely love this first issue, and I can't wait to have the trade on my shelf
Wow.
just for the artwork alone. It could be no dialogue; it'd just be artwork, and I'd love it. But like I said, the story does not let the artwork go to waste. And with all that said, it's a very serious book. It explores these very serious topics. It takes itself very seriously, but there are a couple of, I think, one or two instances when it made me laugh out loud because it was just so funny. It just in the times when you least expect it, it just made me laugh out loud. And that doesn't happen too often, especially in comics.
Hmm.
So yeah, as you can tell, I'm over the moon with this one. for it to be pick of the week this week, it has to be pretty damn good, and it
Wow.
was very, very good.
Well, you're selling me on this one, and I did not see that. So I have to figure out how I can get my hands on Bear Pirate Viking Queen. The title maybe could is very literal, but
Yeah, I was on the fence because what the hell does that mean?
yeah,
But I just flipped through it. And it's like, okay, I have to read it.
okay.
And once you get into the story, it makes sense because it is a 3-part series.
Hmm.
This is issue 1, but issue 1 is essentially 2 issues. So I'm guessing we'll have a Viking issue and a pirate issue, or excuse me, a Queen issue at the end. And let's just say that you can see why that transition takes place.
Yeah, awesome. I think I will say I didn't have anything that I really didn't like. I mean, I think I was just disappointed, but when I started counting, extra pages that didn't say anything, and I won't keep going on that because I think that's I don't want to be so negative. But I was just taken aback, and maybe I was in one of those moods or whatever. But overall, I think we both had a great week, and I really loved Under Heist, and I was happy with how Crave and anyway. But I'm jealous because you read some books that I didn't read, so that's why we do this, I think. And when
Mm-hmm.
we have like these big hits that we're just excited about, I think that makes it worthwhile.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's tough to you want to try to be strategic about what you give a shot to and what you don't. And I try to avoid flipping through too much whenever something kind of catches my eye because I usually find a spoiler or something. But like I said, I'm so glad I flipped through. What was it two? Drawing Blood and Bear Pirate Viking Queen, and I think the title could use a little bit of work, but it kind of makes sense when you get into it. But yeah, fantastic issue.
Yeah, I think so. That's gonna pretty much wrap us up here. I think I will just quickly mention I on my own I read Alan Moore's Top 10. That's the name of the series. I don't think it's a very well known series. It was when he was working with I think they were called was it called ABC Comics, and now I think it's Vertigo.
Hmm.
And it's a police procedural with all these really wacky characters. Like
Hmm.
one of the main characters is this. She's got these toys that like come out and kind of do things for her, and another character is like a I think like a Doberman pincher in a robot suit. So it's like a
Hmm.
dog head. Anyways, and it's a lot of humor, and I don't think Alan Moore is well known for his humor. And I'm mentioning it because I'm gonna be making a blog post of this so people can check it out maybe in the next week or two. And maybe we'll mention when that's up for people to check out. I know Steve, you're also been doing some of those, and anything else you wanna mention, Steve, that you're doing on the forum or
I think we were discussing Blame. We're just doing it on the forum for now. Read the first volume. I wasn't over the moon about it. I think we maybe have a discussion at the end when we finish. Not sure when that's going to be. I do have the crossed blog post finished, but I have not recorded the episode. So sometime soon. I just haven't had a chance. It's been a busy
yeah.
few weeks. But yeah, I'm excited to read about Top 10. Yeah, Alan Moore, I was a huge fan of his. Obviously, he's Alan Moore.
Yeah.
But I inquired about an interview a few months back, and he was very kind. He declined, but he was very kind about it. So I'm a fan for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's somebody that I'm very interested in trying to read his whole catalog. I know we've been talking about what is it called, Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
My fingers crossed that we'll be covering that soon, Steve.
It's on the shelf behind me.
Wink,
It's
wink.
waiting. Yeah, waiting.
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, we'll have to. I think we're doing Where the Body Lies, and then we'll start doing Swamp Thing. We have to record that one. We haven't recorded it yet.
Okay, great.
Yeah, soon, hopefully. Maybe we can plan next month for that. Awesome. Well, it's good to be back, and glad you're back home and safe.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm doing fine.
nice. But yeah, there was a few books I didn't get to this week, but I have ready to read for next.
Cool.
And it sounds like next week will be a pretty big. Oh yeah, you have a stack
I got
already.
a
Yeah,
huge
next week
stack
will be a
here
big
of
one.
like 7 or 8. I don't know if I can get to all of
Nice.
them next week.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll good. We'll have a big one next week. Catch up, do some catch up and some cleanup. And yeah, so until then, if you guys want to get in touch with, if any of you anyone listening wants to get in touch with us, you can find us on the Page Chewing website. Check out our blog posts. Check out the forum. Join the forum. Say hello. There is also now a contact, like a fan mail thing from Buzzsprout. So there should be a link in the description that you can send us a text. It says, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but it's there if anyone wants to chat, or you can, tell us about what we should read or suggestions or feedback. We're always looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you for listening and spending time with us. Hope you're having as good of a reading week as we did. And we will talk to everyone very soon.
Okay. Bye bye.